The Leading Edge Cricket Podcast.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Leading Edge Cricket Podcast, episode 37, and today we're going to get stuck into a quick recap of the first test, England versus Pakistan, and what has turned out to be an absolute excellent first day of the second test for England, as well as reviewing the final parts of the IPL, and we will give our team of the tournament a look at our initial predictions. I am Rob, one half of the Leading Edge Cricket Podcast. I say as always, but last time I wasn't here, but today, 99.9% of the time, I'm joined by my co-host, Rich.
How's it going, buddy? You all right?
Yeah, very, very good. Thank you, my friend. It feels like a long time since I've said that.
It does. It's quite funny, actually. You're just like, oh, welcome. Yeah, episode 37, blah, blah, blah. It's like, whoa, just slow down a minute. When was the last time you were on doing this?
Yeah.
15th of May, over 2.5 weeks ago or so? Exactly. You can't be just kind of rolling back into it, pretending that we last recorded like 2 days ago or something.
I know. It's like an awkward relationship where you have a break and then, night two of being back together, you're watching Coronation Street together and one of them shaking their head going, this just isn't for me.
Yeah, I don't like Coronation Street, mate. I'm sorry.
Oh, I knew it.
Yeah. Anyway, congratulations, mate. Anyway, I think you need to share the. Obviously, most people know, but obviously, if they don't, share the news of why we've had such a delay.
Yeah, a birth of my first child, a little daughter, Eden Rose Taylor Dunn, looking like a future England or Black Caps female international cricketer. Looking at that right arm, mate. She's got a bit of chub on her right arm. I think she's going to be able to throw it down at a rate of knots.
Yeah, I like the sound of that, mate. Although the picture you sent earlier, it did look like she was belting out some karaoke when laying down. Might have just been the pose. I'm not sure.
I know. But yeah, absolute magical stuff. Mum, baby, all doing good. Dad, yeah, he's watched a lot of the test match while doing late night feeds, so it's a win-win situation sometimes.
There has been one perk.
Well, I've got to say, Rich, there is a bit of a tension around the podcast today, and I can't believe you just dropped this on me before. We talk about relationships and Coronation Street and getting back together, and it appears you just sat there in front of me early and you went, Bobby, I've cheated on you. And I'm like, oh, what? What is going on? Talk to me. How can you do this to me?
I did. I cheated on you. I cheated on you with another podcast.
No.
So, it wasn't cricket though, so it didn't mean anything.
It was just a kiss.
If it was cricket, it'd be a bit weird. But no, I guested on a podcast. A guy kind of I know a little bit. He does a Philadelphia Eagles podcast, British Eagles podcast. So he got me on just to have a little chat about me as a fan and all the rest of it, seeing as I've had a few travels over there. So, yeah, that was all it was. It was fine, Rob. It's fine. It's just different sport. It's all fine.
It's brilliant. All of a sudden you've got this one Super Bowl ring and it's kind of a big deal, isn't it? It changes everything.
Head. So you're right. I'm even sat here having a Bud Light, old dilly, or Philly.
Oh, brilliant. It is good to be back online, mate. And I think we should start. So the last episode, you covered it by yourself superbly. 40 minutes of in-depth action. And you did touch on the England-Pakistan game, and I think we just need to have a look at that first test match, because I was up tweeting about it, watching the IPL finals that week while the baby wouldn't sleep, and there's a couple of takeaways for me. So the consensus of the game, everyone knows it by now. Pakistan won by 9 wickets, didn't they? But there's just a couple of performances that I would kind of want to shout out about, and a lot of people have spoken about Mohammad Amir being very, very good. How has Mohammad Abbas gone under the radar for so long? His bowling performance on the first day of that test match was one of the best bowling performances I've seen at Lord's, probably since Glenn McGrath. It was so good.
Yeah, was it 4 for 23 he ended up with, didn't he, first innings?
Yeah, 4 for 23, 14 overs, 7 maidens, 1.64 economy rate. But the guy didn't bowl a bad ball. He was swinging it both ways, seaming it both ways. And some of his dismissals, like poor old Mark Stoneman, yes, he's out of form, and I actually do agree, I think, with England going, we've given him his last chance, we're not going to look at him again. Like, he's completely whitewashed from the England setup now, whereas if he got dropped and then Jennings failed, he may have come back into conversation, whereas now you can move on from that. But the delivery he bowled to him, and like everyone goes, oh, Stoneman's not batting very well. The delivery! That will get most left-handers out in world cricket.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing I was trying to get across as well, is you cannot take anything away from Pakistan. They absolutely outplayed England. I think I was saying, wasn't it, about, if you talk about a team that actually looks like they understand how to play in these conditions with the way they're bowling, the way they're batting, and then looked at the other side with the way we were chasing the ball and bowling short, you would definitely have flipped it around and said, well, we're obviously talking about the wrong teams here.
Yeah.
But Pakistan played like the home team, and England played like a touring subcontinent side that had no clue of how to play over here. And I think you shared some stuff as well, didn't you, about the preparation that Pakistan have had for this Test series. It's only a two-match Test series, but they're taking this so seriously. They had preparation before they came out to the country. They had prepared a green track, and they were using the balls they use in England to bowl with. They really have taken this seriously, whereas England have kind of just called up people that the last time they played, cricket was probably either in the IPL or just having a knockabout, it felt like.
Yeah. It's they definitely did it well. A few county games, proper county games, 4-day games, and a test match against Ireland. You compare that to what England did when they went across to New Zealand, when they played two-day warm-up games with two different 11s on each game and each day, and it's not cricket. It's not how you prepare for a game. It's quite amateur, Yeah. To quote exactly. One of the famous things, what is this, amateur hour?
I have no idea what you're talking about. Sorry.
Oh, Will Ferrell. It's off of Will Ferrell.
Oh, yeah, totally no. Yeah, sorry. So it must be a dated reference, Kiwi. That's probably just come out recently, whatever that is. But probably
it's just years old
for the rest of the world. So, but no, Mohammed Abbas was the star man, mate. He got man of the match, didn't he, in the first Test? So at least people did pick him out with the game. He got four in both innings, didn't he? 4 for 41 in the second innings as well, and bowled really, really well for the whole game. But it was such an easy win, wasn't it, first innings? And it meant that something had to happen, something had to give.
Yeah.
For England, Pakistan could cruise into the next game, apart from obviously the injury to the name slips my mind at the moment, Rob. The guy who's got his broken wrist. Babar Azam, who looked really, really good until he completely lost that one. That was so nasty. It made me kind of go a little bit funny watching the replay. You knew that was a crack as soon as it banged into his wrist, didn't you? So is it obviously, apart from him, they didn't have to change anything. Whereas for England, in days gone by, it could have been completely back to the drawing board, but they just tweaked instead.
Yeah, they did. Just a real solid performance by them. It's got to be said. The England batting lineup, that continues to be as fragile as ever, doesn't it? Everything that we said in Australia, everything that we said in New Zealand, it was just exactly the same. It was a like-for-like performance from this England team at the batting lineup. You talked about it on the podcast. Hard hands, lack of application. David Milan has gone under the radar because he had a good one-day series finish in New Zealand and Australia. But his footwork against a ball just outside off stump is absolutely shocking. He is in the same position of Alistair Cook being stuck on the crease every single time. And it looks like Cookie is getting out of that. There was one drive, I think, that he played on day one or day two. Well, day one when he got 70. And it was a full-blooded cover drive where he was he was a full 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 feet down the pitch when he'd gone forward. And I was like, that's the Alistair Cook that we used to watch play, who had foot movement and confidence. But Milan he got out several times in New Zealand, just outside off stump, nicking off, getting caught on the crease. And it was exactly the same here. They had his number.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a strange one with that top of the order. Obviously, from first test, second test, we know Mark Stoneman's out. He's been dropped. I think that's probably, we're not going to see Mark Stoneman again unless we're in a year's time. We've tried another 3 openers and we haven't done anything. So who knows? It's just, Groundhog Day, isn't it? So he's gone. Milan, I think, I mentioned it, we're talking about it now. He is somebody that the alarms are just starting to go off, aren't they?
Yep.
With Milan. He needs to get himself a score pretty sharpish, otherwise we're going to be looking elsewhere. Because there were people other than Keaton Jennings banging on the door, and there were people that I thought, especially Nick Gubbins, I thought he was the one that was going to get the call. So the Jennings selection for me, although he was in a little bit of form, I'm still a little bit unsure. Not just from watching him today. Obviously, he looked like he played okay, got himself a bit of a score, but then nicked off in a similar manner to his old issues. But for me, it's not just the nature of his dismissals for me. He just doesn't really do it for me as a cricketer at this moment in time. It's not to say he's not going to score a lot of runs. Yeah. I mean, for Christ's sake, Jonathan Trott scored a lot of runs, and he certainly wasn't my type of cricketer. So it's not to say that he can't be successful, but it does make me a little bit confused, the Jennings one. What I don't understand as well, though, is England have been, let's say, 100 for 4 for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Why then, in the first test, is the big batting selection to bring in a wicketkeeper batsman as a batsman at number 7, and that's the way we'll solve our batting problem? I don't understand that at all.
No, I don't. I can't get my head around this one. When I saw it, I was like, "But he doesn't play red ball cricket, does he?" It's been so long. 2016 was the last time he played a Test match for England, and since then it's been white ball, white ball, white ball. He's in a rich vein of form, and yes, he got 67 in the second innings. But it feels a bit old school. You remember back in the olden days, England team, the didn't matter the format, they just used to pick their best players. And Josh Butler's one of the best strikers of a cricket ball in world cricket. And I think they've just turned around and gone, we've got to go with him. He is as good a striker of a ball as anyone in world cricket. Let's just put him in at 7. But if you put him in at 7, why not give him the gloves? And It is a bit of a tit for tat, because you've got Bairstow and Butler. They could interchange positions maybe or keep him, but it's just a strange option to have a genuine batter only at 7. You could bat him at 6 and bring Stokes down, take the pressure off Stokes, who's out of form.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one thing we spoke about quite a while ago now, but when we was looking at the test squad, I think we both agreed that we want to see Bairstow ahead of Stokes. Now, that did happen, but then I wanted to see Bairstow and Stokes at 6 and 7. Whoever that batsman was they bring in, even if it's Butler, chuck him in at number 5. Get him up the order. I don't want to see a batsman coming in at number 7 and then Bairstow keeps the gloves at number 5. It just defies a bit of logic for me. And another reason I wanted to mention the Butler selection as well is we're starting to see a bit of a theme here. With the selection of Butler, Bess and Curran. Now, I want to establish my stance here from the off. Butler, one of my favourite cricketers, absolutely love the guy. I've seen him live overseas and in England win games of cricket for England in one-day internationals. I really, really like the guy. I'd love him to become an absolute mainstay in all formats, but I'm just a bit confused by the selection, but I love him. Bess looks like a promising young cricketer. Sam Curran, we've been talking about him since the start of this podcast and before, about what a talent this lad is. I think we even said that this guy, sooner rather than later, is going to be playing for England in all 3 formats of the game. It surprised me that it started with a test match. I know he was around the white ball squad over the winter, but it does surprise me it started in here. But what the theme at the moment is, we're strengthening this middle order to tail. So Butler's coming at 7. Bess gets a selection because he can bat rather than, after only taking 1 wicket this year so far, rather than going with like a Verdi who has took a lot of wickets and looks the better spinner. Bess didn't really show much in the first game with his spin, but obviously it's very early, so I don't want to judge, but I'm just kind of getting this thought out. Curran has come in as somebody. Now, if he's come in to replace Stokes and bat at 6 or bat at 7, I understand that, but he's batting at 9.
Yeah.
So Wokes has come in for Stokes. So why has Curran come in? If he's at number 9, is Sam Curran one of the best four or so bowlers in international, for England for international cricket? And I would say he's not at the minute, but as a multi-dimensional cricketer and as a potential talent, definitely I'd love to see him in the team. But I'm really confused. It seems like the selection is. It seems from the outset we're being quite bold, but we're actually being very conservative because we're putting in cricketers that aren't necessarily the best bowlers, but they can bat.
Yeah.
So it's all a bit skewed for me, and I'm a bit confused by it all at the moment.
It is. It's almost like they look back to that when they had the Bairstow, Stokes, Moeen Ali, Chris Wokes. They had batting down that lower order.
I think that's what they like
for days, and they're trying to replicate that. And I just don't quite think they've got it nailed down, and it'll probably change a few times over. But I feel like it's a good time to move on to the second test. Rich, do you want to give us a breakdown of day 1 play of the second test at Headingley?
I certainly will. Pakistan decided to have a bat, unless I'm telling lies. I'm pretty sure of that.
They did.
Yes, they did. Yeah, they did. We won't even go into the first test toss and decision. But anyway, Pakistan decided to have a bat. It was one of those days, if you won the toss today, you would not know what to do. The best thing to do would just be to lose the toss and leave it up to somebody else to make a mistake. So Pakistan, they'll be disappointed. But England, they were fantastic. I mean, who was it? The genius everyone calls Michael Vaughan, saying that he should have dropped Stuart Broad. Well, Broady, I thought was sensational. I mean, he took away both openers, first 2 wickets. Imam ul Haq had gone without without scoring after 6 balls, and then Azhar Ali followed not too long afterwards. So Brody got both of those. So Pakistan 174 all out. Haris Sohail 28 before he was caught, nicked off through Wokes, and I thought Wokes bowled well. So I was pleased with this selection ahead of Wood. Because I think we can both agree that we don't really see what Wood offers in Test cricket. He's a bit of I think everyone wants him to be a really good bowler, but he just doesn't take wickets. The top scorer of this innings, though, Shadab Khan, he's a young spinner. He hasn't quite got going with the ball yet, but obviously it's early days. But with the bat, he's certainly showing that he can contribute at this level. 56 off 52 balls. Really, really good knock. And then down the bottom of the order, Hassan Ali had a bit of a swipe, 24 off 16 before he put one up in the air and caught and bowled Wokes. So let's just have a quick look. Jimmy Anderson 3 for 43 off 15, 3 for 38 off 15 for Broad, and 3 for 55 off 11 for Wokes. Sam Curran, debutant, he got his first wicket, and that was the last wicket of the innings. Shadab Khan caught by Jennings out deep on the mid-wicket boundary. That was 1 for 33 off 7.1, so it was nice to see Curran pick up a wicket. There is a debutant today there for Pakistan, just should mention it. Usman Salahuddin, he batted at number 5 in replace of Babar Azam, and he got himself trapped LBW to Broad, so it was a bit of a shame for him, but nice to see another debutant come in. So for England, made a really promising start. First 50 opening partnership for England in, what did they say, 13 innings, I believe, since Adelaide. Ridiculous. You can see why we needed a change. So yeah, and Jennings was the first man out. He played pretty well, got himself 29 of 57 before he nicked off. One coming across him, found the outside edge. Fahim Ashraf bowled, caught Sarfraz. Cook went along pretty well, but he got himself done as well. Hassan Ali got him nicking off. Gloved one through on the pull. It was kind of a lack of pace, I think it was, for him for 46. And then as we leave it at the end of the day, Root at number 3, 29 off 50, and night watchman Dominic Best, none off 9 balls. So he did his job. Dominic Best, massive opportunity for him tomorrow to come in and have a slash. It will be interesting to see how they do line up, because depends where you're looking. Through Sky today, they had Sam Curran listed in at number 9, whereas here, Crick Info, as we're looking at it as the resource we tend to use, they've got him slotting in behind Bairstow, in between Bairstow and Butler. I'm not sure. I think it's going to be closer. He's definitely going to be after Butler, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
But maybe whether he's in front or behind of Wokes will be the question. But it'll be interesting to see where he does slot in. So with the ball for Pakistan, none for 37 off 10 for Amir, none for 22 for Abbas, 1 for 24 for Hassan Ali, 1 for 16 for Fahim Ashraf, and Shadab Khan just went for none for 5 off 3. So England, 68 runs behind, 8 wickets remaining. England well on top, and they needed a first day like this.
Yeah, that's a hell of a first day for England. There was one more thing I just wanted to mention about England's performance in the first test, and I feel like it's a little bit rectified here because it was an all-round performance. And England's fielding and catching has been the worst I have seen it since probably the 90s. And I'm just looking at a stat, and only Ireland and Bangladesh have a worse slip-catch success ratio than England in world cricket since 2015. They drop 29% of the balls that go through slip, which is an absolutely shocking number. I just wanted to throw that in there. But as an England fan, if I was to pick an England bowling unit, 3 main seamers to bowl in English conditions, doesn't matter about Australia, doesn't matter about New Zealand, I would take Anderson, Broad and Wokes every single day. Wokes is a proven performer in England, gets it done, gives batting depth, great cricketer. Struggled in Australia, sure, that's a different story, but in England, he's got to be that man.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pleased with the selection of Wokes. He hadn't played much cricket before the first test. Obviously, he was out in the IPL for a bit, wasn't he? Putting some of our predictions to dust. I think we predicted he was going to do quite well, but he didn't really play much, so not much use. But yeah, he's with the first test as well, Rob. I don't know if you saw it much, but they kept swapping who was in the slip cord for England. Yes. It was a bit farcical, I'll be honest. It's all been agreed. England seemed a little bit more consistent today. I can't say I was watching it in absolute, minute depth sort of thing, but they seem to be more consistent. They seem to be a bit better drilled today, better order all round. And obviously it helps when you're skittling a team out for 174. Although saying that, it was one of those games again where actually it was 113 for 8, and then obviously we let them get another 60 odd runs, or give or take, with 9 and 10, 11. So a bit disappointing, but yeah, a good display for England. They're in the box seat on this one. Dawid Malan needs runs. Josh Butler needs to continue to make runs to make sure he justifies his selection going forward.
Yeah,
and we shall see how we go.
Yeah, I think the shout out of the day, you mentioned it, saying there were calls. Michael Vaughan sent a tweet about Stuart Broad being dropped from the team, and Broadie went away and worked really hard at his game and got himself in the position. And there's a stat today, he averaged 1.6 degrees of swing today, and that is the most that he's averaged with the ball since 2015. So props to him. All that hard work is paying off. He's swinging the ball. He bowled it well. And the amazing thing about this England team is they actually bowled full today. Before, sometimes you see them just drop back a length. But when you see Stuart Broad bowling full, when you see Anderson bowling full, you know there could be wickets around the corner. And that's when England have got that ability to run through teams, because Anderson and Broad can do it. It's when they pull back the length, you get frustrated, because then it's just it's the time game. We're just trying to wear them down. England are great at bowling full and swinging the ball in English conditions. Let the boys do it.
Yeah, he was hooping around a bit today as well, and it defies logic a bit when you see England play, especially in English conditions, inside the first hour on a green deck swinging track, start pulling the length back and bowling short and lacking that patience. This game, it seems like they actually did have that patience. They were probably encouraged by the swing. And they did keep bowling the full ball, and they kept their disciplines about them. So the whole Vaughan thing, though, I found bizarre. I understand his logic from a point, saying that this team needs a shake-up. Yeah, I completely agree. But why Broad?
Yeah, this
is what I didn't understand. Broad has bowled well since the Ashes. Post Ashes, I haven't got criticism of Stuart Broad. Pre that, I can understand him being dropped during the Ashes. But he's bowled well, and the batsmen failed. The fielders didn't hold their catches, so I know, let's get rid of one of our greatest ever bowlers. That was not the way to do it. You want to shake something up? Take the captaincy off Joe Root. Sack Trevor Bayliss. Do something dramatic like that. But the whole Broad thing just didn't make any sense to me, and why so many people kind of hang off everything that Vaughan says and basically, you should be captain, you should, or whatever, you should be coach, you should be this, that, and the other. He's an interesting fella. I like listening to him sometimes, but my God, he talks some garbage.
The Trevor Bayliss comment you just made there is an interesting one, because this could well be a make or break game for Trevor Bayliss as Test coach. There's been a lot of talk about his output as Test coach and how poorly the England team have done. There's a stat here that I'm looking at. I bloody love stats, me, Rich. And what it comes down to is, since Trevor Bayliss took over, I think it was 2015, just off the back of the World Cup, all three formats, England have played the fewest amount of defensive strokes in world cricket at Test level than any other team. And that goes to show the lack of application they've got when it comes to actually being able to grind it out and post a decent score.
Yeah, we're still a bit confused, aren't we, about how we play the game. Everyone else in the world seems to be cracking on a little bit better with Test match or getting the one-day style of cricket into Test match cricket, and we seem to be playing catch-up, even though the 50-over stuff is really impressive.
Yeah.
Right then, I think that puts a bit of a pin in England-Pakistan for now, doesn't it, Rob? Shall we have a little look at some other interesting cricket that went off last night?
Yeah. Apparently there's some last game blues going on.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I don't know if you would have seen it over there, but we had a game at Lords. West Indies played against the World 11. Now, this game, although it was for the hurricane relief, so obviously the hurricane that damaged so much of the Caribbean last year, they did a relief game here. And the World 11 game, they gave it a T20 international grading, whatever you want to call it. So it had a little bit of extra. Bit of a bizarre game. Played at Lords, obviously World 11. Nasser Hussain was wandering around the outfield whilst the game was going on. He was stood at first slip in his civvies with a camera on his hat and a microphone in his hand. It was a bit weird, I've got to say. I'm not quite sure I like that as a thing. But anyway, on to the game. West Indies, 199 for 4. Chris Gale kind of was a little bit slowed down, 18 off 28 at the top of the order. He was bowled by Shoaib Malik in the end. Timor Mills bowled really well, really fast first couple of overs, bowled a maiden to Chris Gale. Not many people can say they've done that. Evan Lewis, he got the man of the match, and rightly so. He got 58 off 26, 5 4s, 5 6s, before Rashid Khan, the Afghani leggy, got him LBW. Andre Fletcher-Kevin went without many. Shahid Afridi, though, we've got to mention this, stumped Ronke. Shahid Afridi, in his last ever international performance, got his last ever international wicket. I think that left him on 98 T20 international wickets. So it was nice to see him. He was hobbling on one foot, and he could not have bowled this ball any slower. I think Fletcher could have played about 3 shots, but he ended up dancing down the track and just being completely done. Marlon Samuels had a bit of a biff as well, 43 off 22 before Khan got him caught by Tithara Pereira, the Sri Lankan. Dinesh Ramdin as well, he had a good smash, 44 off 25, and then Andre Russell, Dre Russ, came in and was give it an even more bludgeon, 21 off 10. This West Indies team looks stocked. Take Fletcher out of that, who didn't get any runs today, and it was solid. Gale, Evan Lewis, Marlon Samuels, Dinesh Ramdin, Andre Russell. That is a terrifying lineup in T20 cricket. With the ball, I think everybody had a bowl. It's quite funny. Mitch McLennan, he went for 31 off his 3. Timor Mills was playing. Shoaib Malik, the Pakistani spinner, mentioned Pereira. He bowled. Rashid Khan, 2 for 48 off 4. Sandeep Lamishan, the Nepalese leg spinner, the 17-year-old, and my goodness, he looks 17 as well. If Rashid Khan looks 35, Lamishan does actually look his age. So that was bowling. In response, it was a little bit, looking through your hands at this, because it was an absolute, it was 4 for 8, let's say. For the World 11. So that kind of gives you an idea of how bad this was. If it wasn't for Thisara Pereira getting 61 off 37, this would have been a lot worse than the 127 all out for the rest of the world. The World 11. So Windies won by 72 runs. And just credit to the West Indies as well. Samuel Badri, 2 for 4 off 3 overs. Dre Russ, 2 for 25 off 3. 3 for 42 off 3.4 for Williams, the bowler, as well. Sorry, just put a pin in it. For Kesrick Williams. It was a really, really interesting game. It was really nice to see the occasion, the way the game was played. It was played in such a lovely spirit. Every player, it didn't feel like a T20 international. It was kind of a bit strange that it was given that, but it was played in such a good way. It was fantastic to see some of these players, some of these guys that have just been superstars in the IPL until recently. We had Dinesh Karthik as well in there. Lovely to see Rashid Khan and Lamishan. If anyone would have said Lords would have had a 19 and 17-year-old leg spinners from Afghanistan and Nepal, you'd have just laughed them out a couple of years ago, wouldn't you? So credit Shahid Afridi as well. Last game he goes. What a player he's been. Just a quick hat tip to him. 98 wickets in this T20s, 395 wickets in ODIs. And 48 wickets in tests. He only played 23 test matches, or I think it's 23 or 27 test matches. So it's a bit of a surprise, but obviously white ball legend. But yeah, good win for the Windies. They look good, and hopefully that made plenty of money for a worthwhile cause.
Yeah, I think that's what this is all about, isn't it? It's all about the cause. Great to see so many people coming in and doing the right thing. And I agree, West Indies cricket, when they actually get the right players on the pitch and get them all aligned for a cause rather than money chasing around the world, because there's no money in West Indies cricket, man, they're such a good team.
Absolutely. So that was good. There is other cricket going on at the moment. Obviously, we've got the One Day Cup all up and running. But we're letting that just slip by us a little bit at the moment. But obviously, after we've got this pod out of the way, we're going to wrap up the IPL shortly. We'll then be able to jump back on it and have a chat. And it's nothing to do with the fact that Notts haven't been doing particularly well, even although they did get a win today against Worcester. Right then, what we've all been waiting for, isn't it? IPL. I'm sure there'll be people out there that are just wondering who won the IPL because they were literally just waiting for us to tell them. All right, that's probably not the case. That's probably not what has happened. Everybody knows what's happened, but let's just get caught up and just throw our little thoughts at it. And we also want to see how we did. We made some predictions when we did our IPL preview as well, so I really want to just compare that with reality. So as we left it, we last recorded when it was on the 42nd game, so we did miss a number of games. We kind of missed the end of the rise of Joss Butler. who went from a nothing player in this tournament to one of the stars. We also saw some A.B. de Villiers magic, and Lungit and Giddy as well came from absolutely nowhere in this tournament to be. If he'd have played 2 or 3 more games, he would have probably been in my team of the tournament without giving too much away. So as we got to the end, as we got to the qualifier eliminator period of this tournament, what we did see, we saw Mumbai Indians come from almost the dead to looking like they were going to qualify. They then dropped off. So Rob, you putting a pin in them early doors. You must have been having kittens because they really looked like it was going to qualify, but they did fall just short, finishing 5th. Rajasthan Royals are another team. We did not think that they would get anywhere near the qualifiers or the eliminators period. So it was a real surprise for me to see that they get there. But then it was a lot of that was to do with Jos Buttler. Yeah,
Jos Buttler was just incredible. How long did it take Rajasthan Royals to actually realise they've got something special in the best, one of the best white ball strikers of a cricket ball in world cricket? Oh, you know what? We've got this superb overseas player. Let's put him at the top of the order. Great thinking. Shame it was about 7 or 8 games too late. But he was great guns. He had 4 back-to-back 50s, a 39, a 67 to finish. Incredible performance by him. It just goes to show what could have been for this Rajasthan team if they'd had the ducks in a row at the start.
Yeah, I think he did actually get 5 in a row in the end, and that equalled Mr. Sehwag's IPL record.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. So, how did we finish then? So we saw Sunrisers top the table on just kind of splitting on net run rate. They pipped Chennai Super Kings both on 18 points. KKR, the Knight Riders, finished in 3rd on 16, and then Royals squeaked home with 14 points. Mumbai Indians just missed out on 12. RCB, the superstar Bangalore team, they finished to 6 on 12 points as well. Kings 11 again on 12, and Delhi Daredevils 10 points. It's a weird one, really, because Delhi, I actually enjoyed watching Delhi Daredevils play, especially with the other likes of Rishabh Pant, etc. So it was a bit of a surprise to me that they finished bottom, but I think if they can keep some of those guys together and keep them on the team for the next year, then they'll be somebody to deal with. But it was Sunrisers lost a bit of momentum, I thought, going into the knockout stage, and they did not. It didn't go according to plan, let's say, in the first qualifier. And I've just got to say, for the record, I was a bit weirded out by how they do these qualifiers and eliminators, but I'm a convert. I now see the benefits of it, and I think it's a really, really good idea. So there we go. I admit when I'm wrong.
Yeah, the tables are good, and Mumbai were giving me kittens. After I put a fork in them, mate, they just started coming back great guns, and everyone was talking this could be the same Mumbai Indians team that won it the year before, because they found the same momentum, didn't quite work out. RCB, how do RCB not even qualify? Their team was so stacked.
Yeah, too many individuals, too many players, not enough. It's about team, isn't it? So.
It definitely is. And Sunrisers, they were great. That bowling attack, possibly the best bowling attack there's ever been in 11 iterations of the IPL. But this one's probably the best. Unfortunately for them, they just couldn't back it up with the bat. And yes, they finished top, but it's how they finished top. They were so dominant for the first 10, 11 games, and then they just hit the bad patch at the wrong time.
Yeah, and it didn't help that CSK had beat them both times as well during the group stage, if you like. And obviously going into the first qualifier, the top 2 teams played off, didn't they, for a chance to go straight to the final. And Sunrisers, Chennai, it was pretty much how you'd expect it to go in some respects. Sunrise 139 for 7, didn't really put up the performance, didn't really get the score you'd want, and Chennai knocked him off 140 for 8 with 5 balls remaining. Faf du Plessis was incredible, carried his bat, 67 not out from the top of the order. Shane Watson, who was to think that anything would come from him, 5-ball duck that day in that game. So in his penultimate game, we'll talk about what he did in his final game. But yeah, it was all about Faf du Plessis. Sunrisers did what they could in this game. Carlos Brathwaite, 43 not out of 29. Few contributions, but it really was CSK. They just had the hoodoo over Sunrisers, and that was 3 wins from 3 games this season. And it kind of set it up. At the time I was thinking, I think this is going to be the final. I think Sunrisers will find a way.
Yeah.
And that is what happened. So should we jump straight on to the eliminator?
Yeah, let's roll.
Yeah, KKR against the Royals then. We were surprised that Royals made it this far, and this is as far as they did go. Big old Dre Russ, he got the man of the match for this one for the Knight Riders. 169 for 7 in the first innings. It didn't quite go according to plan though. Nareen, the guy that usually gets them off to a flyer, he was out for 4 early doors. Lynn, 18 off 22. not great. Dinesh Karthik, one of the stars of this tournament, 52 off 38. If it wasn't for MS Dhoni, Karthik would be in everybody's team of the year as a finisher and wicketkeeper. Andre Russell, though, 49 not out of 25 to really put a good total on the board, 169 for 7. A couple of wickets apiece for Gautam, Jofra Archer and Ben Laughlin, the Aussie. But Royals, they were looking pretty good at the top of the order. Rahane, 46, 20 for Tripathi. Sanju Samson, 50. And then Heino Klaasen, 18 off 18 balls. And Gautam, 9 off 7. Couldn't do it. Just too much to do too late for that one. Chawla, 2 for 24. Some economical bowling, 1 for 18 from Kuldeep Yadav. As well. So really well deserved from the Knight Riders, and that took us into the second qualifier. This was the Rashid Khan game, Rob. I don't know if you saw much of this, but Rashid Khan literally was everywhere. I think he made the tees. He got the hot water on for the showers, did a bit of scoring when he wasn't in, doing everything else he was doing. The man was everywhere. 174 for 7 for Sunrisers, a proper score for them. Big contribution. Sahara at the top of the order, 35, in for the not particularly informed Hales, who didn't really go according to plan for Hales this tournament, did it?
No, it didn't.
So, Darwan, 34 as well. Kane Williamson, though, we all thought that this could be a bit tricky if Kane Williamson didn't score, and he only got 3. But Shakib Al Hassan, 28, and 34 not out for Rashid Khan off 10 balls. He can do everything. So on to the Knight Riders in total, though. Good start. Lynn, 48, 26 for Nareen, 22 for Rana, 30 for Shrubman Gill. We thought that they might just have enough, but they fell short. And it was that man, Rashid Khan. It was ridiculous. 3 for 19 off 4 overs. It was ridiculous. But it wasn't just that, Robbie. That's not where the game ended for him. He got a run out. And then he got 2 catches.
That's a dear diary moment, that game, isn't it? That's possibly the best all-round game anyone's ever had in the IPL.
It's got to be, and he's certainly made the most of his subs that week, hasn't he?
Oh, he did. You pay your 10 quid, right? You pay 10 quid for a game of cricket, and he's made the tees, he's eaten the tees, he's taken catches, run-outs, runs, and then wickets, and gets a Man of the Match award, and probably a free beer behind the bar at the end of the game. And all in all, It was jug avoidance because he only made 34, so he doesn't have to buy anyone else a pint. Bloody brilliant.
Yeah, I think he should have had to get the combination of wickets that he was involved in should have counted. But yeah, not bad for a 19-year-old, eh? So that took us on to the final, Sunrisers Chennai. At this point, I just want to go back, and we're just going to get caught up a little bit with our first predictions, Rob.
Yep.
So, one of us here predicted a Sunrisers CSK final.
Did we?
No. Yes, one of us did.
Oh, right. Okay.
So we're going to go back. So we're just going to take it back one step. So this is our prediction for the qualifiers, who would get through to the knockout stage. Mumbai Indians, Royal Challengers Bangalore, Chennai Super Kings, Sunrisers Hyderabad. We both had exactly the same 4.
Oh, that's not bad. 50%. I'm happy with that.
That's pretty good. So we were wrong on 2 counts as well, wasn't we? So I can understand that. The difference being, though, you then went for a Mumbai Indians Royal Challengers Bangalore final, and I went for a Sunrisers CSK final.
Oh, knowledge is power, mate. Knowledge is power.
You had a chance and you failed, and so,
you had
so I was
job.
pretty pleased by that. Yeah, exactly. But I went for Sunrisers to win. So
okay.
So that's where it all fell apart and came undone. So the final, massive. I was kind of nipping in and out from this one at a family barbecue at the time, but I was watching a good chunk of it. 178 for 6 for Sunrisers, a brilliant total, a winnable, a total that should be able to win games of cricket. Darwan 26, Williamson 47, 23 for Shakib Al Hassan, Pathan 45 not out of 25, and Brathwaite 21. Really, really good score. Wickets all round. Pretty good performances from everybody with the ball for Chennai. This was not predicted.
No,
they knocked this score off. They won by 8 wickets with 9 balls remaining. There was no way in the world this was going to happen. Shane Watson, after 10 balls, he had failed to trouble the scorer. And at that point, there was an appeal. And I think I turned around to my dad, who was watching at the same time, and said, I'd keep him in. You're winning the game if he's not going to score any runs. Yeah. And then he got caught up pretty quick. And then he ended the game 117 not out of 57 balls. So technically 117 off 47 balls, which is just outrageous. I mean, even with the 57 balls, that's a 205 strike rate, 11 fours, 8 sixes. One of the most incredible performances in a limited over game, in any sort of game, in a final, in a big decider game. I don't think there's been a better performance than that. Suresh Raina 32 off 24, Rayudu 16 not out off 19 to get it. A brilliant win for CSK. They beat Sunrisers 4 out of 4 times in this tournament. Deserved winners. What more can you say? Shane Watson, Rob.
Yeah.
Just man of the match.
Incredible. Watto with the innings. Ended up with 555 runs in the competition. Kind of went under the radar because he had that 100 at the start of the competition. And then it was kind of like, he's kind of drifted off and out of being relevant for a while. I would have not put money on Watto being the star man to get them across the line here. I would have put money on Rayudu or a fairy tale finish for someone like MS Dhoni down the order. That's kind of where my head was going. But the fact that he was able to overcome such a bad start, and it just goes to show in IPL cricket, it's 20 overs, but there's actually more time to bat than what you think. And he was able, out of those 10 balls, not being able to get it off the square, kind of get his eye in a little bit and then be able to progress and just start smashing it out of the park. But cricket's a funny game like that. Some days it is just going to be your day, and this was definitely Shane Watson's day.
Yeah, 100%, buddy. And it's just, like you said, it's one of those, you'd think, you've not scored after 10 balls. It's almost time to just turn around and knock your bails off and walk off.
Yep.
But the knock itself, the actual execution of the knock, the technique, the temperament, everything was incredible. But for the fact that he actually had the mental capacity to just overcome, in a final, all the pressure, the atmosphere, to actually sit there on none off 10 balls and say, it's going to be all right, it's fine, just keep playing your game and come through. It just showed what an absolutely unbelievable character he is. I've got a giggle at him over the years, but this was unreal.
Yeah, top performance. So what about the overall run scorers in the competition, Rich? Who took home the hat? I say hat. I don't know the colour of the hat, but someone took home a hat.
The orange cap. And I'm going to say it wasn't Suresh Raina who I predicted, nor was it Virat Kohli who you predicted.
Oh, that's not a bad prediction from me. I'm quite happy with that.
Well, you were number 7.
Okay.
He ended number 7, and Suresh Raina was number 14. So neither were ridiculous. Although I did say at the time, after listening to this back a little while ago, I said that now I'm predicted Suresh Raina for a lot of things. He was probably going to be injured, and he did actually miss the first 2 games. So, I'm going to blame that. Kane Williamson, 735 runs at an average of 52, strike rate 142, and then Rishabh Pant, he's got to win the emerging player. He has to win the emerging player. I think he's at 33% of the vote at the moment. 684. Lokesh Rahul for Kings 11 at 659 in third. And then we had the 2 CSK, Rayudu 602, and then Shane Watson 555. Josh Butler, bizarrely, ended up 548, 6th highest run scorer.
That's incredible. He did nothing before the final 6 games of the tournament.
Yeah, Chris Gale finished down in 19th, 368, only played 11 games. So big shame, really. We didn't get to see a little bit more of him. So, Kane Williamson goes away. Sadly, obviously, he gets the runners-up medal as a captain but for Sunrisers, but he also goes away with the orange cap.
No, much deserved. He was so consistent all the way through. 850s in the competition. It could have been 9, it could have been 10. There was a couple of 40s where he failed. But he was just the glue of that Sunrisers team that always meant they were 120, 140, 160 runs, and that immense bowling attack could go to business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was unbelievable performance from him. I didn't expect as much from Williamson, but it just shows the talent. Most sixes, while we're on the batters, Rishabh Pant, that man I've just spoke about, Delhi Daredevils, unreal. 37 sixes in his 14 innings. Shane Watson, 35 in second place, 15. And then Rayudu, 34. And then Lokesh Rahul again, 32. Dre Russ was there. He only scored 316 runs, but when he did have a bat, he tended to pop sixes everywhere. 31 for him off 14 innings. And then AB de Villiers. If he had played a few more games as well, 11 innings, 12 matches, 480 runs with 36s, same as MS Dhoni. So, unreal. But Rishabh Pant has to win that. He's one of the stars of the tournament this year.
Yeah, he does. Top effort by that young man. Again, we spoke about it. Really, really hope we get to see him in the Indian lineup very, very soon. Disappointed not to see him in England this year. But you never know. Injuries, things happen. He could well be there.
Yeah, exactly. Just want to finish one thing at once, something else as well. We obviously got the most run scorers wrong. We accept that. Most runs by an overseas player. We said AB de Villiers, Rob, 480 runs.
Yeah.
The most by an overseas player was obviously Kane Williamson as well. So we screwed that prediction up as well. We've got to be honest.
Okay.
We've got to bring back all these predictions we made.
Yeah.
And just to show how ridiculous they all were, to be honest.
Okay.
So
I can accept that.
Cool. With the ball then, we all predicted Andrew Tye, didn't we?
Yeah, of course, mate. Yeah.
Did we balls? Andrew Tye, as if Andrew Tye got the purple cap.
Good on him, 24 wickets. That's a great effort by him. He was quite quiet early on in the campaign.
It's a hell of a return. He's somebody that I knew very little about before this tournament, and he really has endeared himself to me on and off the pitch. So really, really pleased for him. 24 wickets. Joint second place, Rashid Khan and Sidaf Kaul. 21 wickets apiece for Sunrisers. Umesh Yadav in fourth place for RCB, 20. Then Trent Bolt, 18 wickets alongside Hardik Pandya, the Mumbai Indians all-rounder, I'm going to call him. Jasprit Bumrah, JJ Bumrah as well, 17 wickets. Sunil Narine, pinch hitter extraordinaire.
Yeah.
He also finished in the top 10 with 17 wickets, joining Kuldeep Yadav, a Knight Rider teammate. And then Shardul Thakur, 16 wickets, rounding out the top 10. From an English perspective, Jofra Archer, 12th place with 15 wickets. And I just want to mention as well, Lunga Ngidi, he only played 7 games, but he took 11 wickets. He would have been somewhere near Andrew Tye if he'd have played a few more games, and it justifies a little bit of belief that he didn't play as much this year. So, predictions, Rob.
Yeah, who did I have?
Bumrah.
That's not bad again. That's 7th.
That's not bad at all. I went with Rashid Khan, 21. So close.
That's better. That's a better guess.
So close. I think we both did well on with the. I think we were better with the ball. I think that's showing that where we were probably a little bit more as cricketers. We understand that side of the game.
Yeah.
So that wraps that up. The only other thing is the emerging players. I went for Washington Sundar. You went for some guy that I didn't even hear once call out for this tournament, Dhruv Siraj.
Yeah.
And like I say, it's got to be Rishabh Pant. If it's not, there's something gone wrong. Most sixes, I went Suresh Raina. You went Glenn Maxwell.
The big show. What have I done? I don't even like Glenn Maxwell.
Yeah, I've just moved on from that tab. I don't even want to look how far down he was. So, yeah, so that's where we were with the tournament, mate. We did pretty well there. None of us got anything right apart from the final, and we both got we got 2 out of the 4 qualifiers. So. Yeah, it was an effort. I'm not going to say it was a great effort, but it was certainly an effort.
It was an effort nonetheless. And who did you pick for player of the tournament?
Oh, you've just thrown that one on me. I've got my 11, my tournament team lined up, but my player of the tournament. That's a heck of an ask.
I know who I picked, and
would you want to say
go well?
Oh, your MVP. I see what you're saying now. Sorry, I went you. Yes, I picked Suresh Raina because my logic was that if Suresh Raina is the top scorer, he's going to get that by hitting the boundary. He's going to score a lot of sixes, and if he hits a lot of sixes and is the top scorer, CSK are going to win, and he's going to be the MVP.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Well, I went for Stoinis. And it's safe to say it did not go very well. 176 runs and 6 wickets. That is not quite MVP performance.
No. No. So who was the MVP, Rob?
According to the IPL website, Sunil Narine captured the MVP of the tournament.
Bloody rightly so, I reckon.
Yeah. All-rounder. And he kind of goes a little bit under the radar, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, he just, at the top of the order, he didn't really come away with a massive score, or consistent high scores, but he just went in and biffed it. He finished with a strike rate of 189.01 for his 327 runs, 35 fours, 22 sixes. That's just with the bat. With the ball, 16 wickets at an economy of 7.62. I can see why he's won it, can't you?
Yeah, top performance.
Yeah. I mean, you get him off to a flyer every single day when he bats there, so that's superb. So really, really well deserved. Marcus Stoinis, you were robbed. Right then, so that pretty much wraps up the IPL. It's obviously there's been a bloody good reason we've not been able to, but it is after the way we got going with this tournament, we were following it, keeping up to date with it. It was a bit of a shame for both of us, I think, that we kind of just lost the way a little bit towards the end of that. So, apologies there, but like I say, I think we've got a bloody good reason why we did.
Yep.
Well, at least Rob has a very good reason anyway. So let's just get it wrapped up. We just want to put out there into the world what our 11 is. And Rob, I'm going to go through what I think my first 11 is. If there's anyone you think should go in instead, then you shout out.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with KL Rahul and Jos Buttler as my openers.
Okay.
Now, Rahul 659 runs, strike rate of 158, Buttler 548, 155. Boundaries everywhere. And then I've got Ambatu Rayudu and Kane Williamson at 3 and 4. interchange, doesn't matter where they play. And I'm going to give Williamson the armband. I've got Rishabh Pant at 5. I know he's a wicketkeeper, but I'm sorry, he's back. He's in my team. And then I'm going to put my wicketkeeper in at number 6. Now, this was a tough one for me in the end. It was a toss-up between MS Dhoni and Dinesh Karthik. MS Dhoni, 446 runs, strike rate 157, 9 not outs from 14 innings, whereas Karthik, 438 runs, 149 strike rate with 6 not outs. Honestly, Dinesh Karthik was on a par with MS Dhoni, but MS Dhoni just gets it. 23 fours and 36s compared to 44 and 14 for Karthik. So he gets in there. Sunil Narine, MVP, I've not forgotten about him. I could have had him opening. I could have had him, but in my sort of team, I'm going to have him down at number 7. He's going to come and do exactly what he does at the top of the order, but he's going to come and do it at number 7 for me instead. For 327 runs and 16 wickets. And then my spinner, or one of my main spinner, Rashid Khan. Yeah. He got his 16 wickets and he chipped in with a few runs. And then it's Umesh Yadav from the Challengers Bangalore with his 20 wickets at an economy rate of 7.86. Then it's the two seamers, Andrew Tye and JJ Bumrah, 24 and 17 runs, wickets apiece. 8 economy rate for Tye and 6.88. Brilliant for JJ Bumrah. What do you reckon, Rob?
That's as solid as it's going to get. The only change I'm going to make would be for me, and I am going to put it out there, I am going with Watto to open the batting instead of Jos Buttler.
Yeah, I think Butler can come out of that if we needed to.
I know, just because he's got 200s and he gives you some 60-mile-an-hour seam option. So just a little bit of variety going on there.
Yeah, I can understand that one totally. I mean, before the final, there is no way in this world that I was going to allow Shane Watson to be in the team of the tournament.
Yeah.
It's not the team of the final, Rob. It's the team of the tournament.
Team of the tournament.
But to win that final and win it in the way he did with that knock, yeah, all right, I'll let him off. So we'll probably substitute him in there. So Watson makes the first 11.
Yeah.
Notable mentions, I just want to throw out some more names here. Chris Gale, Suryakumar Yadav, AB de Villiers, Virat Kohli. Then we'd probably put Butler in there, Dinesh Karthik, and then it's the Pandya brothers, Hardik and then Krunal Pandya. They've had brilliant tournaments in Mumbai. Mujibu Rahman, the other young Afghani spinner, he petered out at the end. He was going to be in the team for me probably ahead of Yadav. But he kind of went a little bit cooled down a little bit, didn't he? And then Siddharth Kaul for Sunrisers and Trent Boult. Other mentions that just deserve to be in this conversation. Markande for Mumbai, Mitch McClenaghan played a really strong tournament. Jofra Archer, he came on strong towards the end, a bit like Ngidi did, who is the other man who is in my thoughts as we were looking at this.
No, it's an absolutely superb IPL tournament. It's been great to be so close to it all the way through it. And guys, let us know if you'd have any changes to the IPL team of the tournament, because we think that is a pretty solid team. A very, very solid team. If there's anyone you think's different. But, it's kind of reinvigorated the IPL being so close to it this year, because quite often it can go under the radar down in New Zealand because it's on at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So it's real nice to be across it, Rich. And it is very, very good to be back on the podcast as well, I must say.
Yeah, too right, mate. Yeah, I've got to say, just talking to myself for about half an hour the other night was a bit weird. So it's quite nice to have you on the other end, sometimes responding and replying to me. So that's nice.
It might not make much sense, but at least there's somewhere that I am listening.
Yeah, too right. Hey, just one last thing I forgot to say, and we've got to give massive credit. Before this tournament, we put it out there for everybody to tell us who they thought was going to win it. I'm just looking back here. CSK, 30% of the vote. The people spoke. The people knew what was happening.
They know.
Credit where it's due.
Yeah, definitely. It's been great, Rich. We're looking forward to the remaining 4 days of the England-Pakistan Test match. It might not go 4 days. It looks like there's a bit of rain around. We will see. Anything else from yourself?
No, nothing really apart from at some point we'd like to, dig into the one-day cup. Because that tournament is building up nicely. We're up to about 6 games played for everybody now. So it's we want to get on top of that and just talk. There's been some brilliant performances.
Yeah, no, that sounds superb. Thank you so much for listening, guys. It's great to be back. Check us out, as always, on Twitter at Leading Edge Pod. We're on Facebook, the Leading Edge Cricket Podcast. Subscribe on YouTube at the Leading Edge Podcast, as well as Apple and Android. You guys have been legends. Until next time.